The Scarecrow Corpse by Kris, Mallory. As you know, I am, or was, in training to be a coroner. My education was almost complete, and I've been working a paid internship with a well-known medical examiner in the Washington DC area. All that changed a few hours ago when I was fired from the office of using precipitate what I believed to be a cover-up. Even though they warned me about consequences for leaking information about this case, my consequences wouldn't be clear if I kept quiet. This is something people need to know. A few days ago, we received a call from Metro Police about a possibly body discovered in the Red Line. Since we're here, we responded a few calls in the subway system. The first time it was a woman who tripped on someone's rolling suitcase while trying to pass by on escalators. She ended up with a broken neck. Twice we went out there for a heart attack, once for a late night mugging that went bad. The poor guy was stabbed repeatedly in the stomach even though he handed over his watch and wallet like the mugger requested. So far I hadn't seen anything especially gory, and it was a bit of a letdown when the dispatch officer said it was a man just found sitting on the train station. Is it wrong that I've been looking forward to a call about someone who's either jumped or pushed from a train? The interesting thing is wording of the dispatch request was possible body. If the word possible is in front of the body, maybe it's the paramedics that should be responding, not the coroner's office. When we arrived, the paramedics were actually on the scene, so I figured it was just miscommunication and were called out prematurely. Police tape blocked off the whole entire station platform from our view and in top escalators. We could tell something wasn't right. The paramedics stood aside the door to the train car, and they weren't actually doing anything except arguing and pointing at the body slumped against the window side. We could have left, but since it was slow evening, we decided to take a look anyway, just to see what was going on. As we approached, I overheard some of the conversations between the two medics. "He's dead, right?" said the older of the two. "Dead people don't do that." "Do what?" I thought once they saw us, they quickly agreed that the man was dead promptly left the scene to us. Clearly, that wasn't a call they wanted to handle. I could understand that. The police weren't mad help either. I chatted with the officers on the scene while the doc went to take a look at the man on the train. One of the detectives commented that there weren't any clear signs of foul play. Witnesses all claimed the guy just sat down like everybody else and started breathing. Natural causes, I thought. Seemed like a pretty cut dry case. When I looked over my shoulder at the doc, he seemed confused. "Look at this," he said to me as I walked into the train. As I approached, it seemed like the man was napping like a lot of the train riders do when they know their start won't be coming for a while. "Look at his eye." "Look at what?" I asked. "His eyes." The man's head was forward and his chin to his chest, so I had to kneel down to get a look at his face. As I'm doing this, the doc is talking out loud like he tends to do. Just going off his mental checklist. Not breathing, no pulse. His skin is too cold to touch. Approximate time of death 6 to 8 hours ago. I'm in the aisles of the train trying to make do with the pin flashlight. Since the dim light of the train wasn't helping much, the man's eyes were open, and he seemed to be staring at me. It's not uncommon. Suddenly close a video what that is the doc wanted me to see. So I looked like a complete idiot. Then he blinked. I jumped back as quick as a mongoose would jump from a cobra. "What the f-" I tried to say. "Exactly," the doc said. "That gotta be a muscle spasm, right?" "You would think," he says, "but watch this." He grabs this guy by the hair, pulls his head back. With his other hand, he waves a finger in front of the man's eyes, which they began to follow. As the doc moves his finger left to right, the man looked at me, blinked away. "Have you ever seen this before?" I asked. "No." "And he's dead?" "As a doornail." We let the officers in charge know that we couldn't determine the case of death on site, and a full autopsy would be performed to make any kind of determination. She made a note in the reports that this body has a tendency to follow with its eyes and occasionally blink. Off the record, she told me the whole case bothered her. The man, she said, didn't even have identification, credit cards, watch, jewelry, a phone, even money. All they found was a train ticket and a napkin. Once we had went back at him at the office, we changed his examination of code rules. I was asked to deal with his clothing. The man watched me as the whole time as I stripped off his business. He even winked at me at once. Also, a few odd things was to know about the clothing. First, he wasn't wearing any undergarments. Normally people wear a t-shirt, boxers or briefs and socks. This guy wore none of these, but for some reason he had 2 belts on, one over the other. The doc switched on his tape recorder and turned on the buzzsaw. I saw as he prompted the instrument as I made a mental note on his perfect technique so I could try to do it better next time. I'm telling you, the doc is a real artist. Next came the enjoy a cracking sound as ribcage were pried open. All this, the man whose eyes were just watching us. I could swear he was smiling too. Over the next hour, the doc made notes that he did the exam. He handed me each organ that we weighed and catalogued. There's nothing strangely ordinary about any internal organs. Okay, the doc said. Let's take a look in his head. I want to see what's causing the eye movement. Listen, do you mind if we keep the guy's eyes shut? I try to remain as patient as I can, but the constant blinking is unnerving to me. The doc didn't mind, so I took some sunshine tape and walked up to courage to manually close the guy's eyelids and taped them down. Immediately, they started moving fast. This whole face was convulsing and contorting itself, trying to break away off the tape. I don't think he likes that, the doc said. Then he moved the tape from the eyes from the man. The violent motion stopped away and he winked at the doc. This isn't natural, I said. There's a scientific reason for everything. It's our job to find it, the doc replied. But he actually fought to take the tapes off his eyes. I guess he wants to watch. Now, do you want to be the room of the skull, or should I? I was too shaken to handle equipment, so I watched as the doc worked something sore around the man's skull. The bastard is smiling, I'm sure of it. He stared at me, blinking his left eye, then his right, back and forth. I heard the familiar popping sound caused by the top of the skull being pulled off. Whoa, okay, the doc said. What is it? I asked as I'm walking around to see what's happening. The man, what he's seeing. The man's eyes followed me, of course. I think I might have to call this one in. Dear God, the brain was missing. Doc? I asked. Not now. Pack up, go home. I'll finish cleaning this up, he's saying. This as he's already dialing a number on the phone. But just go. I'll call you later, it isn't a request. I know when to shut up and listen. I'll make my way to the door knowing that man is still staring at me. And don't say anything to anyone. The doc never called me back. Each time I tried to reach him went to voicemail. I tried to go back the next day, security wouldn't let me in the building. They said I was waiting further instructions while on the paid leave. That was 4 days ago. In the morning, I heard a knock on my door. The man said he was with the medical examiner office, but he looks like he's from the CIA, FBI, NCA, or some other three-letter agency. He asked if we could come in to talk. I opened the door, let him in. As I do, I noticed 2 other similar dressed men sitting in a black Suburban across the street. The folder he hands me is a case of the fall John Doe that was found off the train. All the notes about the eye movement and the blinking were removed. There's no mention of anything out of the ordinary, let alone a missing brain. It all got Doc's signature on him, asking me to sign as well. I tried to tell him the files were wrong, but he holds up the hands and stopped me from speaking. This is how it happens. Sign it. I asked about Doc, and I want to know why I wrote him. He said, the Doc has been let go. The way he says it makes me think the worst. I've usually signed it and asked to speak to the director of the medical examiner's office. The man informed me that would be impossible, that I am to be fired. But fired isn't the word he used. He used the word terminated. He leaves when he asks me to go, but he warns me that mentioning this to anyone would have serious consequences. As soon as the door closed behind him, I packed my bag and took off. I saw that black suburb forward parked at the end of the street. I might just be paranoid, but I think it pulled out after I did. Just in case I was being followed, I changed direction several times. When I felt safe enough, I pulled up to a nearby resident neighborhood, found open Wi-Fi signal. I think something strange going on in DC. Maybe somewhere else as well. I don't know what it could be, but I feel like the dark and I stumbled on something we weren't supposed to know about. Now we're in danger. I found a dark code number online. When I called it, it went straight to voicemail. I tried leaving a message for him, but the line just went dead once I began talking. If someone's monitoring my phone calls, it's possible my car is booked too. They know exactly where I am. Again, maybe I'm just paranoid or crazy. Maybe there's something completely logical explanation for the Scarecrow corpse that stares and blinks and winks and smiles. I can't imagine how anything like that could exist or why. I'm scared. Really, really scared. I decided the only thing to do would be to write an email to everyone I know. Hopefully this information will make it out somewhere. If you receive this and have anything with you tomorrow, then you probably know I'm probably dead, and you know what I've written is true.